What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about the one and only NIO stock and what you should be looking out for the future. I'm also going to break down what's going on with the overall market from SPY to Tesla to the QQQ and many other stocks out there. I'm going to talk about what's going on with the debt ceiling, the news affecting NIO, and how this may affect NIO's price action for tomorrow. Before I break anything down about all this information, though, before I get into any more details, I do have to mention a couple of things before starting. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner. Make sure you take none of this as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire NIO community as a whole. And the last thing is, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, whether it's $1 or $100, it's up to you. You're guaranteed up to 12 free stocks, each worth up to $3,000. And the best part is, any could be a free NIO or Tesla share. The offer ends in just 1 week, so check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. When it comes to the market, NIO is up about 3.2% for the day as of Friday, when the news came out about NIO making more investments into nuclear fusion companies. Now, this could be very bullish news for them moving forward, as it gives NIO a lot more diversification and it helps the company invest in different sectors of its energy segments. Now, that's very good for the company for the short term, but what the real question is, what's going to happen for like the more for the more medium term, right? For the next couple of weeks. And right now, one of the biggest factors for the market is going to be the debt ceiling. It started off pretty decent, with many politicians being willing to shake hands and negotiate, but it's really changed courses very recently. We're starting to see a lot more politicians arguing, uh, just playing dirty politics and just doing things like that, which I really don't like to see. But if this happens, it is what it is. And the best thing we could do is react and prepare based off what we're expecting. Now, President Joe Biden is in Asia. He's coming to the US very, very soon. And upon his arrival, they're going to be continuing to negotiate about the debt ceiling situation. Now, Biden has said that he's not agreeing with what Republicans are trying to do in its entirety. He is willing to negotiate, but he's not willing to meet every single one of the requirements. Janet Yellen also came out and she said June is a very hard deadline. She's expecting them to raise the debt ceiling as soon as possible. And she said if they don't do it, they're at risk of causing a severe recession. She's mentioning that it's very important that they continue to look into this, because for a very short period of time, things could get very bad. Now, Janet Yellen, she might not be entirely correct about how, you know, there's no more money left for June or after June. I believe the U.S. has enough money to basically survive until July, unless we raise the debt ceiling. And her main intention here in creating this hard deadline in June is just to get as many people on board with raising the debt ceiling as possible, as soon as possible. She knows that, and it's an intelligent move she's making. I admit that, and I think it's good that she's trying to push Congress to get something done, to negotiate, and I consider it a good move. But now, when it comes to other things going on for the markets, we have Bullard, Barkin, and Bostic all giving speeches tomorrow. The first one's going to be an hour before the market opens, and the rest of them are going to be a little bit later. They won't be as significant as they were last week, because last week, we had Powell speaking, and now there's not a whole lot going on. We're just a couple of weeks away from the FOMC meeting anyways. And moving forward, we have GDP numbers coming out for Thursday with jobless claims, and then we have I think we have the PCE data coming out for Friday. That's going to be very important too. It affects the Fed's policies. On top of that, as far as earnings goes, NIO has earnings, I believe, on June 9th. So we're just a few weeks away from NIO's earnings. Before that, we have Zoom, Lowe's, Dick's Sporting Goods, and just a couple of other ones. For Wednesday, we have NVIDIA. That's going to be one of the most important ones for the week. And finally, we have Best Buy and Costco. More retail for the week, ending us on Thursday with big lots. So nothing too huge. Some news came out involving NIO, as the largest U.S. pension has sold its Apple, Intel, NIO, and Li Auto stocks. This news just came out this morning. This is a little bit more bearish news for the time being. NIO also mentioned that on their Twitter page that the 1400th NIO Power Swap station was achieved with the support from their users and partners, completing over 22 million power swaps. So amazing news from NIO when it comes to that. So for now, I mean, we're getting some good news. I'm very impressed with how NIO is trying to improve. However, their latest deliveries numbers were not the best, so I want to see better numbers. We're only 9 to 10 days away before NIO reports their deliveries. Let's hope they give us some good numbers, because when they tend to do so, the share price tends to perform better. Right back in June of last year, we saw that. We saw the same thing that happened later on, especially after like when the year started. But since then, NIO has been underperforming. So I want to see a big improvement. Let's see how it goes moving forward. Now, NIO is a very strong supports at the 7.9 area. It has quite a bit of resistance around this like 8.1 area. Those are two levels to really watch for in terms of intraday volume. NIO tends to be green only about 49% of the time on Mondays. We tend to perform better during the 4th hour and also the 6th hour of the day, right? So make sure you watch those hours if you are watching NIO. And then May tends to be green about 60% of the time for NIO. However, this is an abnormality because we have different catalysts coming out for the markets, and NIO is performing a little bit differently. We also saw about 9 million NIO shares shorted just a couple of days ago. Be prepared for that because shorts like to be relentless when they attack NIO. NIO's volume is pretty decent, very close to average, nothing too significant. But now let's talk about the stocks and the charts right now. NIO is near the basis band line in terms of Bollingers, just in the middle, nothing too huge. If we're bullish on NIO, it's going to push all the way up to this upper Bollinger, approach this like 8.4 area. If we're bearish, it's going to make its way all the way down to 7.5. Now, I want to note that we have this gap down below, but there's not a whole lot going on. I mean, we had a bullish divergence here that started pushing out, but now NIO is very flat. I'm anticipating that NIO is going to just remain pretty flat until we get a big catalyst. But if the debt ceiling continues to remain bearish and we just get bad news after bad news and no deal or progress is made, the market could start downtrending, right? It's very possible and very likely, but I'm always going to be open-minded nonetheless. For SPY, before I talk more about NIO, for SPY, we're at the upper Bollinger. If we're really bullish, it is still possible for us to get to that 426 to 425 area. That is going to be a very bullish if we do get good news for the debt ceiling. So far, however, when I've been looking at the transcripts, the majority of politicians have been very, very cantankerous, just arguing, not really forming agreements, and that has been negative for the market, at least so far. Now, the market could hold up temporarily, but there could be more downside coming because we did form a bearish divergence in the 1 hour time frame. The odds are favoring the market needs to cool off a bit as we are at the upper Bollinger. Unless we get good news, which I'm just saying it's a possibility, if we don't get it, the market could have downside. We're likely going to see SPY test 416, then 412. What's more likely? The odds do favor us cooling off a bit though, seeing how overbought we've been on the smaller time frames and seeing where we are in terms of Bollinger Bands and seeing what's going on with the debt ceiling negotiations so far. I don't want to sound pessimistic though, because it is still possible they close some deal today. If they do close the deal, the market's going to rip. I just want to warn you guys, but the odds are favoring that not happening so far. As far as the QQQ goes, if we're bullish, 340 is going to come. If we're bearish, it's going to make its way down to about 332, if not 330. Now, what's more likely? I'm always open-minded because it depends on the debt ceiling, but the technicals are telling us that this may need to cool off as we're at the upper Bollinger, and the odds favor us maybe cooling off this week just a little bit, making our way down to like 330 flat. As far as Tesla goes, it has lots of relative strength. If it's bullish, it's going to make its way all the way up to about 184. If it's bearish, it's going to come all the way back down to about where the 50 is, around this 174.95 area, if not even lower than that. It coincides exactly or almost exactly where the 5 EMA happens to be. In my opinion, Tesla is going to be affected by the overall market, but also the news that comes out affecting it and the debt ceiling. The debt ceiling gives us good news. Tesla could fly up. If not, it's going to make its way down. But the odds are favoring Tesla cooling off a bit because of what I'm seeing for SPY and the QQQ, and also because of how we are testing the upper Bollinger right now, right? If you go back on the charts, most of the time when we hit the upper Bollinger, we cool off. Not always, but most of the time. There was an instance where Tesla was very oversold, so we just kept going. But like this instance, we got rejected here. Let me just show you guys. We pushed up here, we came down a bit, but like I said, we were so oversold here, so it just kept ripping up all the way up to about the 200s. But here, we hit the upper Bollinger, we came down, pushed up, then started cooling off a bit. We came close to it, then we cooled off. We came near the bottom one, then we pushed all the way up back to the top. Then we rejected off of it to the bottom, then back to the top. And it's looking to me like it might cool off from here. The odds favor that, but I'm always open-minded just in case something else comes out. Finally, for NIO, we're in the middle. So, like I said before, there's a bullish and bearish case. I believe there is a good chance NIO might cool off though and trade very flat around $8 and retest 7.9 though, because of right now there's lots of uncertainty involving the debt ceiling. And I think NIO as a company as a whole is seeing the share price just trying to base around $8 for the time being. And it's going to wait for some bigger catalyst to react to. So I'm anticipating more boring price action at just basing around $8. And until then, I just want to thank you all for listening. All right, I have some merch for you guys if you want to buy a shirt or hoodie or tank top that says "To the Moon" or "Money is Calling," or we have options or some really awesome shirts. Uh, the offer ends that I have on this is going to end very soon, so please check it out. And finally, don't forget about the Webull link. Right, if you sign up with my Webull link, put in any amount of money, you're guaranteed up to 12 free stocks, and it could be a free Tesla share or worth up to $3,000. All right, so check it all out. Thank you all for listening. I appreciate every single one of you. NIO to the moon because the long term is still incredibly bright. And peace out.